Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
The only logical thing to do is turn this into this.
Ugh, gross.
So the next thing I'm going to do is start working on framing in this closet. I'm going to start by inserting a piece in here, and this will give me a surface to screw my drywall to, as well as the new stud wall going that way. So this will get attached at the bottom, top, and middle here. And we'll butt this up here and place another piece of wood on top to connect them, and then we'll Tapcon it down to the floor over here. From that point, we'll run our studs up to the ceiling where we'll have a header plate up there, so we'll attach the studs at the top and bottom, and then we'll put bracing in the middle as well to strengthen that interior wall. So before I attach this 2x4 to the ground to extend out our wall, I first need to install this sill gasket on the bottom. That way there's no direct contact with the porous wood and the porous concrete, leaching any kind of moisture that may be there. Hopefully there's none, but it's just a just-in-case kind of thing. So 3 staples in there, easy as that. We're gonna flip this over, butt it up against this 2x4 here, and I have my level here pressed up against both boards. From there, I have a slightly smaller than 1/4 inch drill bit set up here, and because this side is gonna be attached with a piece of wood, and this side is gonna be attached with a Tapcon, we'll drill it over here somewhere. So drilling that hole made room for our masonry bit, which really is not that good at drilling out wood. Although you can do it, I would recommend doing this first anyways. So from here, we're gonna use our hammer drill function, drill a little bit of a hole to mark it, move this out of the way, and then finish drilling the hole. It's important when drilling for Tapcons and stuff like that, you need to get the dust out of there. So what I'm gonna be doing is running my vacuum at the same time. After I'm done drilling, I'll also suck out the dust from there with the vacuum as well. So in order to attach this 2x4 to the ground, I'm using this long Tapcon, and I have a fender washer on top. And that's simply so the head doesn't just blow through the soft wood, and it really has a lot of meat to hold it down. So let's go ahead and attach this with the impact gun. If you feel a lot of resistance, there's a lot of dust in the hole, and you're gonna break the head off the Tapcon. This thing is capable of doing that. So just back it out, clear your hole again, and it should go in on the second try. So now we're going to attach these 2 pieces of wall together at the bottom using a little brace piece here, and I'll screw in 2 screws like this on either side, and I'll make sure to push this up against the front with another piece of scrap so it's perfectly flush for our drywall later. Okay, our wall is straight, it's going nowhere. On to the next step. So for the studs on this section of the wall, I'm choosing to attach the header plate on the ground and then standing it up and toenailing the ends in. After that, we'll add the bracing in the middle. So I just happened to be poking around, kind of double checking my water damage estimates, and I pulled this back and I've noticed water back here. Now I checked this last week and there was no water, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm pretty sure this is all coming down now, so, well, well guys, you can see things got out of hand pretty quick. I wasn't really expecting the water to come this way. I'm still not sure that the water had come this way. I'm kind of thinking like the moisture in the air and everything being blown around for those few days trying to dry things out. Maybe it just kind of worked its way back here and the humidity, it just kind of condensed back there. That's my theory anyways. I don't think there's really a water problem here as I couldn't really find one. But anyways, it's time for the wall to go back in place. And as you see, I had to remove this stud right here, which wasn't our exact 16-inch on center because of that raised concrete slab, which is now removed thanks to the jackhammer. So that's out of the way. We're gonna get the wall put back in place and then install that bottom plate here. So then we'll be able to attach our 3 studs, 1, 2, 3, and we'll just toenail everything in place once this is put in place. And then we'll move on to installing the short wall. So you can see I just cut up this piece and that piece, and what these are going to do is bridge the gap between this little stub wall and this full length wall. This piece right here, I drilled a bunch of pocket holes in, and these are going to correspond into these pieces up here. It's going to get anchored here and over on this back wall as well. And then this bottom piece here is just going to bridge the gap between the two 2x4s, the one that's going to come out over here and this one right here. So we'll have a consistent nailing edge for the drywall all the way up this, and it'll lock the walls in place. Nothing's going to move. So to begin framing in the closet, I've temporarily put up the top plate up here, and my bottom plates are going to be two pieces. This slightly longer piece and this shorter piece, and you see I've attached the sill gasket to the bottom already. Now this piece is not going to get anchored down with a Tapcon, but this one is over towards this end, as I don't want it to be able to wiggle around. And it will be securely fastened right here with the stud that comes up from it. Now I've already measured and cut my 4 studs, 2 here and 2 here on either side. And I was able to do that because I was pressing down on this, and then I had my header plate up there so I could get my exact lengths and pre-cut everything. I'm gonna take that header down, put it on the ground along with all the studs, and make the wall on the ground and then stand it up. I really don't like toenailing that much. To me, it's not as strong of a joint, and this is the way I'm gonna do it. So yeah, let's get to it. Well, let's take a small pause while my son takes a nap and I can no longer make noise. On to installing some soundproofing in the walls and the ceiling. Since this is going to be a new bedroom, we want things to be quiet. There is a kitchen up there and a family room through this wall. So this wall, as well as all the ceiling, will get this, I think it's 2x6, really thick soundproof insulation. And we're just going to put this everywhere I know I can right now. Anywhere that there's still electrical work to do or something like that, I'll leave till later. But I'll put as many bats in as I can for the time being. So now it's on to framing the entrance of the bedroom, which is going to have the door on this section. It's going to open into the closet wall like that. And then there'll be a small section of wall right here as well. I'm going to do this exactly the same way that I just did the closet wall, building it on the floor and then standing it up and anchoring everything in place. So you can see a little bit of struggle, but the wall is now up and in place. You see I've built out this section of wall. That's simply because I didn't want to frame in any kind of short wall or anything. I just built it up with some scrap 2x4s to get the door a little bit away from the wall so the door handle doesn't smack, and it also gives us room for trim on the outside of the door. The next thing I need to do is put the top cross member that goes between these two studs and the top of the door will rest against, as well as over here in the closet, same thing, that cross piece at the top. Now, the bifold door does come with a set of instructions that says what your rough opening should be, so I'll set it to that, as well as adding some bracing over here between these two interior studs here. Then we'll move on. it's time to get this door mounted, and the direction it's going to be mounted is the hinge is going to swing in this way. So what I'm going to do is directly mount the door jamb to this part of the 2x4 over here, because I know it's super solid and it's perfectly straight and level. Over here, we're going to have to use some shims in 3 or 4 areas. And as I'm mounting the door, I'm going to be spacing it back from the 2x4, the edge of the jamb, with this piece of drywall on both sides to make sure that it's going to be flush after the drywall is installed. So I've just invented a new way to remove a screw that you don't have access to the head. Take your drill, put it over the screw end, tighten the chuck down, and then let it spin and wiggle it back and forth. Easy as that. So because the wall that divided the rooms used to extend right to this point, this wall was a little bit short by about that width of a 2x4. So I've taken out that vertical stud that was on this side of the room, and now we're going to bring it this way to almost flush with this edge, leaving room just for drywall to fit between the trim and the edge of the stud. So what I need to do is attach a new little extension to the bottom plate, install a little cross member up here, and then just finish studding in the wall.